Hello, it's Miss Whitley. I want to talk to you about your Youscience project, Youscience assessment. It's in lesson 13. I've opened that early because we received the Youscience codes earlier because we have one course that is a team B, or rather term B as in boy, and it ends September the 29th. So when all the codes came in for all the classes early, I decided that we could, as a group, of 8 classes, work towards the Youscience, get that part of our class over with early as well. So when we get to lesson 13, you'll have your feedback already from the Youscience team, and we can work with that when we develop our PowerPoint presentations that you'll be doing as one of your final assignments, and also your resume, and coming up with other things to prepare for your career-oriented chapters. That's lesson 12, chapter 12. So when you are checking your emails, and these emails were sent to you over the weekend, some may have been delivered on Monday, you're going to look for something from the from the Youscience account, the Youscience team. I've displayed it here. Let me go into my email so I can scroll down. This is one that I got in February, and it'll say, "Welcome to Youscience." And then as you continue to go down, it'll have a button, or at least mine did, that says Get Started. So you'll click on this, Get Started, and then it will take you to a whole nother screen where you log in, and you can't see that right now. When I am going to take you there in just a moment, but I do want you to know, after you've submitted your assessments, there are 14 games, or 14 I think they're like games, but 14 assessments of aptitude, tests, etc. And then this is not graded, but I don't want to get into that right now. I just want to stick with email. Once you submit your assignments, it'll take 12 hours for you to get your results back. And when you do get your results back, it'll come back again from the Youscience team, and it'll say, hey, your results are ready. And so you log in to the account you created 12 hours prior, give or take, and then you can review or view your results now just by clicking on that button. All right, so let's talk about Youscience. I'm going to go into my account already. Let me take you there so you can see what we're up about, or what this is about. So Youscience is probably one of the most comprehensive assessments for aptitudes and skills that you were naturally born with. I need to emphasize this because some people think this is a test. Some other people think, oh my goodness, I scored poorly on that. I need to improve on that particular skill set. Well, that's not what this is about. The Youscience assessment provides you with, again, 14 different ways of assessing your main aptitudes in several areas. We're talking about what you are naturally born with, and what your self prefers to use to learn information, practice information. So let me summarize by saying again, this is not a test that you can pass or fail. You get your credit for doing this in class by completing it. The second thing is, it does not indicate what you need to improve on. That's not what this is about. Instead, it is highlighting your strengths and skills, and then helps you identify the careers where those strengths, abilities, native aptitudes can be most effectively used in. And hopefully, when you match your career choice with what your aptitude and skills are naturally, it's not work, it's fun. And so that's what we're after. So right now you should be looking at my login screen, and I'm going to go ahead and log in here and show you a couple of things. So let me see if I can log in with my own account. There you go. And oh, it doesn't like that. Well, let's try again. There we go. So this is exactly the results that you'll get once you have submitted your assessment. Again, remember, it takes 12 hours to get it back. So this is due on September the 19th. Make sure that you give yourself a buffer of 12 hours to get this done. You'll get back results and you'll say your name here. It'll be Ethan, you have some serious talents, or Edith, you have some serious talents, or Tim, you have some serious talents, or Hunter, you'll have some serious talents. Whatever student is reading this at the time will have their name have serious talents and awesome career opportunities. So you'll go first to your aptitudes. This is the real results of your test, and it'll show you the scores, not necessarily numeric scores, but the percentage or the what you were more naturally good at. See, for me, the top thing was idea generation. So I'm a brainstormer, and it tells some descriptive terms about that attribute of mine, that native ability I came onto the planet with. The very next thing will be sequential reasoning, and if I want to click on that, it'll tell me what that means. If I go to the third most successful or most prominent ability that I have, numerical reasoning, it'll say that I'm quick to spot patterns, relationship, and complex trends about numbers. And it'll go to every single one of those. Like I am a list checker, that's my visual comparison speed, my deductive or inductive reasoning. The one that I was stunk at was spatial visualization. Instead, it says that I am an abstract thinker over and above working with shop or lab work. I like ideas and relationships. So I wasn't good at the exercise that would have said that I was very good at seeing in 3D. Instead, it just says, okay, look, we understand that you didn't score very well. We see how small this space is, how small the percentage of the circle is for spatial visualization. Well, that's because I am not a concrete thinker. And it fits, if you think about it, into idea generation. So you could go all the way around the ring and it'll tell you what this means, your percentage of the ring of each one of these areas. All of you will get an idea generation feedback. You'll get feedback on sequential reasoning, numerical reasoning, visual comparison, speed, inductive reasoning, and also spatial visualization. Now, if you go to the scroll down, it'll tell you your scores on vocabulary, tell you how you work just approaching a job, what your interpersonal style is, and it'll tell you how you are oriented in time. So I think in terms of the future. And the next thing down will be how you contribute to a team. And that's blending your work approach and your interpersonal style approach together to contribute to a team. And you can see that it's broken into either a generalist, a liaison, or a specialist. And so it has a block for each one of these. I can't show you that because I'm an extrovert, and that's all that it does there, except at the bottom. It says extroverted specialist enjoy being public experts. They make excellent public speakers, lobbyists, activists, because they remain focused on a single idea while interacting with a large number of people. You'll have a description of your contribution or contributory style to a team as well. And then it'll summarize the 3 top areas of work that interest you. In my case, investigative, artistic, and realistic. And then, and just for fun, if you have some extra time, it'll give you opportunities to practice some of the things that the tests were practicing in the first place. Excuse me, I had to take a drink. All right, so let's go to the very next thing. Based on your interest and those native natural aptitudes, the Youscience program or algorithm will produce 3 different types of skills. The ones that you are a strong fit for, and those will be in the green. They'll be at the top. And let me just point out that it'll show the number of years of education that's required, the number of projected openings, and the average salary for each of these careers. You can click on these careers and it'll come up and tell you more about the day in the life of. It'll tell you the core tasks of, in this case, it was a geneticist, and it'll say how this career fits you. I want to just put a word of warning here that if you are looking at these careers and you're just surprised by them, and you think, gosh, there's no way in the world that I would have been a geneticist. Well, excuse me, what this means, forgive me, I just burped. What this means is that you really do have the natural abilities and aptitudes for the strong overall fit careers that are presented to you. They're not making it up, it's all quantitative based on how you scored. And also interests that you select, things that really fire your imagination, and you get an opportunity to do that before you submit your assessment. So it's a combination of your aptitude scores and a combination of what you express as interests of yours. So let's go back to the careers, because there are three sections or three buckets of careers they're going to present to you. The strong overall fit will be at the top and will be bordered by a green color. You can scroll down and see the next would be a good overall fit, which was as an energy engineer. Well, in my case, it's an energy engineer. It's just framed by blue. And then the third is a fair, yeah, meh, but a fair fit, and that would be down here at the bottom. Business intelligence analyst. Let's just look at this one because I want to show you. Remember, we can just click on the title and go in and look at the day in the life of. But let me just bounce up here to say that it'll show the aptitudes that match you for this career. So in my case, inductive reasoning and visual comparison speed. If you remember, though, on my circle, these were closer to the end, where my scores weren't as broad as, say, for example, idea generation. So just keep that in mind. This helps you figure out what aptitudes it matched. And if you go over to the other side near the upper right-hand corner, you can see majors and programs for this career, and that means that there are 6 different ways that you can achieve, 6 different programs known by colleges and universities to Youscience that could produce you or give you the opportunity to walk into a business intelligence analyst job. And then if you click right below the title, you can also find other titles that this career might be known as. I just think that's very helpful. So let's just do a review of where we came from. As soon as you finish your assessments, and if I were to click on these assessments, nothing would happen because they're done, dusted and done. And so what is delivered to me is at my aptitude scores, the results. And remember, this scrolls down all the way to the bottom. And then based on how your aptitudes, again, remember, this is not pass fail. It doesn't indicate something you need to stop and say, oh my goodness, I need now to become very good at spatial visualization. Means I was never good at spatial visualization, just not my thing. So based on your ring percentages and those areas that you were strongest in, it's going to present you with 3 types of careers: those that are a strong overall fit, those that are a good overall fit, and those that are like, somewhat good, but they call it fair. And if you're interested, you can save the career so that you don't have to scroll through this over and over. But this is really good for you to see if the career that you're on right now actually matches the career that your Youscience scores say that you're really naturally good at. Another real strong attribute of taking this assessment is going to the describing you section. So this comes up with terms and sentences that can describe who you are for resumes, for interviews, and for cover letters. So if somebody says, tell me about yourself, then because of the way you've scored, Youscience will collect terms that describe you so that you don't have to fight for that. It's a quantitative way of describing you. In other words, you didn't come up with these terms. Youscience came up with them based on how well you scored. So I can say, if somebody says, well, tell me a little bit about yourself, Patricia, I can say I'm an idea generator. I really enjoy numbers, and I'm a good number analyzer. I took several tests where I found that number reasoning and number analyzing were one of my top scores. I actually am very good at problem solving, strong brainstormer. You see where I'm going with this class? So these terms that describe you are followed by statements that you can use addressing some of the categories that were on that very first page of aptitudes. Work approach. So here are, again, powerful statements to use in resumes, letters, and essays. So your work approach is likely how you were to fit into a group. So if a potential employer says to you, how do you think that you would work in our company? I mean, what kind of groups do you like to work with? Or what is your style of working with groups? Can you give me an example? Well, you can say, based on aptitude tests that I've taken and experience and feedback, experience with other groups and feedback from those teams, I am best when I'm sharing my opinion about areas of expertise, which I really like to do. I like to develop a primary expert. I want to unlearn everything about it from the best resources. And I'm a natural born researcher, so I can contribute that to the team because I really like to spend a lot of time digging deep into the subject. So I can make these sentences fit whatever way I need to rewrite them. But there's the work done for me, my objective sentences or descriptions about me and the way I approach working with a group. Same thing with my interpersonal style. I can say, oh, I enjoy lively conversation and thinking out loud, which is so true. Time frame orientation, I can say in a resume, or again, it's the spirit of these sentences. Not that you have to use these sentences verbatim, but these are statements that you can use. Somebody says, well, tell me something about yourself that is something that you're working on. And I can say, well, look how I'm twisting this sentence here, or twisting doesn't sound right, modifying this sentence. Well, I may find it hard to adapt if circumstances force me to change my long-term goals. So if I join your company because we are both sharing the same long-term goal of X, and then the company changes its direction suddenly, then that might be cause for me to reevaluate my own position with my long-term goals and matching and staying with your company. I'm not so sure I'd say it quite like that, but I'm hoping you get the gist. Again, I'm just trying to demonstrate how you can use these statements. For idea generation, which you might recall was my strongest, and sequential reasoning, which was right behind that, I can organize a lot of information in my head and prioritize it on the fly. It's easy for me. That's true. Vocabulary is how many words that you have at your disposal. So I can say I have an extensive and highly developed vocabulary. So there you go. You're going to have these very same statements. It'll sound like bragging statements, but you need to think of them as objective statements that were created with nothing from you except how you scored on the aptitude and the skills testing. Numerical reasoning was also strong for me, but let's get down to this spatial visualization. Just as I could wrap up my own example for you, I don't spend much time thinking about visually based ideas. I could take it or leave it. So you might find something like that as well that frames into an objective and neutral way of saying, yeah, I just don't like that subject. All right, I'm not really good in that area. But you don't have to say those words. You can say something a little more neutral. So let's go back to the very last tab, which is colleges. So a quick review. We've talked about the aptitude results that you'll get back. We've talked about the careers that the aptitudes and your interests will lead you to. We've looked at this whole sheet on phrases that you can use in resumes, interviews, and essays that describe you on multiple dimensions. And then the last thing is colleges. So you might recall that you had multiple careers that you could choose from. And the colleges link back to those careers to say to you, all right, so you were interested in becoming a geneticist. So if I had selected that career, then they would provide a summary of the colleges that could help me progress towards that. And you can see at the top that I can look at all colleges. I could only look at 2-year schools, and it'll provide that for me. Or I could look at 4-year schools only. So let me deselect that one and select this one. Oh, well, I'm not quite so sure how to do that on the fly because every time I select that, there we go. So you just can't have that darker ring around either of these ovals. It needs instead to just be dark around one area. Okay, so this is the Youscience. Let me do just a quick summary. You're going to go to your mail. So let me go back to mail. Let's just start from the beginning in our really quick summary here of what we just talked about. So you'll go to your inbox and you'll look for something from the Youscience team. It'll say, welcome to Youscience. When you scroll down, you're going to click get started. It'll take you immediately to Youscience where you'll create an account. You'll go through the assessments. Again, there are 14 of them. They're more like games. They're timed, some of them. Do your best. Don't worry. Make sure you've eaten well. Make sure you are rested. And then just take them, clear your head after one, maybe shake it off, and then start the next one. Usually takes anywhere from 45 minutes, although it took me 2 hours and a half because that spatial visualization thing so blew my mind. You can start and stop and keep going all the way through in one setting, or you can do it across a number of days. Once you submitted it, you've got 12 hours before your results come back. They're going to come back in an email like that saying your results are ready, and then you're going to go review your results now. And just keep in mind that when you do go to review your results now, it's going to come back and look something like this, except your name will be there and not mine. And it is this that you want to select. So you want to screenshot this and drop this into the Dropbox in lesson 13. And then just go through each one of these tabs here so that you can get a good sense of who you are, what you came onto this earth with the abilities to do. I hope this helps you find your best fit careers and find success in whatever direction you're headed for your career. And maybe this is helping you right at this intersection go from the path you thought you were supposed to go on to one that might be more appealing, less like work, and more like fun. Thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, bye.